Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Tylearn, and today I am bringing you guys another Dragon Ball What If that we will be doing in one shot. This time it's a solo one, and it's talking about if the Potara was actually permanent, aka what if Vegito stayed fused. So if you want more videos like this, comment any suggestions you have along with supporting me by liking the video and subscribing if you are new to the channel or a Dragon Ball fan. Pressing that bell icon also helps you get notified. Now with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to shut up. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and yeah, let's get into it. What if Vegito stayed fused?
Hey, collecting rings like I'm Sonic. Bitches wanna party. My wrist getting heavy, so I got 'em on a diet. Yeah, flex like I'm Hogan. The oven's coming over. Yeah, we respect.
Okay, so here Vegito is still eaten by Buu, but he wouldn't just defuse this time, meaning Goku and Vegeta are gonna have a way easier time of ripping out the Buu clones and defeating the Buu clones of the Z Fighters. This leads into Kid Buu being born and then Vegito fighting him rather than a combination of Vegeta and Goku. Now, it's a physical combination, like, literally, because they're fused now, and I'm going to be going with the manga scaling, which has Buuhan mainly as the strongest Buu, so we are going to be safely saying here, Vegito's going to be saucing on Kid Buu and slicing him into atoms with his spirit sword, and then finishing him off with the final Kamehameha. No Hercule Spirit Bomb needed, but Hercule does probably take the credit in defeating Buu and saving the universe anyway, although it's just in a different way. Vegito thinks about if they should kill Fat Buu, but Hercule would defend him, begging Vegito not to kill him as Hercule was the one who could tame Buu. Vegito decides to let this slide, as worst case scenario, Buu tries to lose control and blow up the earth, which Gotenks, Gohan, and Vegito himself obviously can deal with. Speaking of, now Vegito needs to figure out what is he going to do now that he's a fused being. The first best thing to do, I guess, is tell everyone and let the info sink in for the rest of the Z Fighters, along with Bulma and Chi-Chi especially. I'ma say here, Vegito hangs out with Chi-Chi on Monday through Wednesday, and as for Thursday through Saturday, it's going to be with Bulma and at Capsule Corp. And Sunday is just Vegito's off day hanging out by himself. Now, I think even before this, Vegeta would try and find an issue to the fusion problem initially, but the Elder and Shin Kibito Kai this time say that Potara is permanent, and even wishing from the Dragon Balls won't even work. So, this means Kibito and Shin never separate. Vegito is just going to have to get used to this body. However, lucky for him, he has 4 years to do so before a purple cat requesting of the Super Saiyan God pulls up on King Kai's planet and drops Vegito on his skull. Vegito is persistent though. He has been training over the course of the 4 years, and so obviously Vegito would be giving more of a fight than even enraged Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. However, it still isn't enough. Vegeta would go Super Saiyan 2 to try and maybe even the odds, but that just isn't even close. Vegito knows what he must do, and he would power up into Super Saiyan 3 and fire a full power final Kamehameha that would have easily destroyed King Kai's had it not been for Beerus being able to easily disperse the blast with the palm of his hand. He says how they got a long way to go before knocking them out. Beerus, disappointed and desperate, tries to face the other Saiyans to see if they would know anything about the Super Saiyan God, which leads into Beerus fighting everyone. Vegito would have recovered by this time, and he would get the idea of using the Dragon Ball similar to Goku, but before doing that, King Kai warns Vegito about what Beerus is doing on Earth at the moment, and when Vegito arrives via instant transmission, he would see Bulma try and smack Beerus only to be smacked back. This enrages the fused Saiyan as he rushes into his Super Saiyan 3 state and threw a Dragon Fist, which was a move he learned during the 4-year gap. And for once, Beerus actually felt slightly overwhelmed in his really suppressed state. Like in canon, the Dragon Balls are used to figure out how to actually summon the Super Saiyan God, and this leads into Vegito being counted as 2 Saiyans just for, to make the ritual a lot more simplistic, and we would have Vegito absorbing the God power, and fighting Beerus absorbing into his base, being able to turn on Super Saiyan, etc, etc. Now, to be real, Vegito already being influenced with God Ki is something that is unimaginable power-wise. Now imagine the increase in power he obtained after training for months on end with Whis and absorbing God Ki fully. Luckily for ROF, Goku and Vegeta don't arrive until later in the saga anyways, so really the whole saga is the same, except for Vegito arriving instead of Goku and Vegeta separately. Vegito would go on to just humiliate Ginyu and embarrass him before then finishing him off, as Vegito is known for disrespecting his opponents. Speaking of disrespect, base Vegito unironically thrashes Frieza, and even when Frieza uses his golden form, Vegito can hold off at his base form. We gotta understand the difference between base Vegito and base Goku is way more significant than you think, so therefore the results of God Ki training would be way more significant. Vegito would show off his new transformation Super Saiyan Blue, which quickly consumes his energy. However, he quickly kills Frieza in a single blast. Vegito overkills Frieza at this point, and we would still get the Universe 6 tournament being set up, and like in canon, Gohan is not going to be participating. However, we do have an extra spot as Vegeta and Goku are now one being. The original team is still formed, but with the inclusion of Krillin. Now, I know this is going to be a little weird, but this man was hesitating and showing fear in the Frieza fight, feeling useless and being paralyzed, kinda like how Gohan was. Now, I believe Krillin and Gohan have similar arcs of both trying to find a balance, and here we can actually have Krillin find it early, especially given the fact that Vegito is part Goku, and Goku and Krillin are best friends. Krillin's arc is also placed weirdly here, given the fact that it's in a filler arc and in a one-off episode in the Tournament of Power recruitment section. Not saying it's awful, but I think we have an opportunity to add someone who genuinely could be good for the team. Krillin, a big-brain strategist, got the best moveset in the series, and Krillin can be whipped into shape by Vegito, who still is his best friend. Vegito will help remove Krillin's fear, and so Krillin and Vegito would then go and train on in the time chamber for 3 years. Mainly this would be getting Krillin his confidence with a combination of inspiration from Goku and ruthless blunt advice from Vegeta. Vegeta would shout out how he needs to be fearless, whereas Goku would say it in a nicer way, like don't lose to fear. This is what has been shown to consistently hold Krillin back, and so they must remove this weakness. They do this via image training with enemies Krillin has faced off, or Vegito fighting like his past opponents, maybe shooting beams and trying to lift him up like Frieza, or scare him like Nappa, spit on him like Deborah. Pause! But you guys get the gist of it. During these 3 years, I think it'd be safe to say that Krillin is at least stronger than his TOP self, who is even pressing base Goku. Now, this man should at least be able to keep up with the Super Saiyan Goku tier fighter for a bit, now that, he's been training with Vegito intensely for 3 years, and Krillin, just doing normal weight training from time and time again, just was stronger than base Goku. So this is why Krillin's so strong now. During their training, however, Vegito would try and control Blue, but the more he tries to figure it out, the more he just learns that Blue will always consume a lot of your energy significantly when used for a good period of time. Krillin, hearing this problem, would say to Vegito maybe that's the key. Vegito's confused, but Krillin then explains and further elaborates, and says why keep on for a great period of time if it slowly weakens you, when you could just use it more effectively by using it in short bursts. Krillin says that he should apply Blue similar to how he used to apply Kaioken, or at least, the half of him that applied Kaioken back in the day. Instead of all that energy just wasted on using Blue, Vegito can think of it as using Kaioken. And so Vegito decides to use Blue similar to how he uses Kaioken, as Blue does consume a significant amount of energy, whereas Vegito could just use God initially, as God is something that he's mastered and is definitely a lot more refined in comparison to his Blue form. Anyways, the two then emerge more powerful than when they first stepped in, and even got the facial hair. Universe 7 then heads into the arena where they would take the quiz, and Boo falls asleep while Vegito barely passes. Vegito would want to go first, but in this timeline, Krillin actually goes first instead. Botamo is his first opponent, which Krillin gets memories of the size difference he's encountered like this before with Bacterian, Nappa, etc., but Krillin here isn't the same. Krillin, while fighting, realizes he can't win via physical strength or trying to overpower Botamo, as he can just absorb all of his attacks, which leads into Krillin throwing a bunch of Destructo Discs to confuse Botamo, not allowing him to notice the one Destructo Disc Krillin threw below him, and beforehand Krillin specifically lured Botamo to a corner so then he could simply cut off part of the corner that Botamo was standing on with the Destructo Disc that he wouldn't see coming, and eliminating Botamo easily. Botamo is knocked out of bounds, however Frost would then emerge onto the stage, and Frost and Krillin go at it, with Krillin being above his Tournament of Power self, which is able to press base Goku, so therefore he would be above first form Frost, and forcing him to use his third form. Now I think the third form would make Krillin a little uneasy due to him having a little bit of PTSD, but in this timeline he would just simply snap himself out of this state and telling himself that it's going to be okay and he needs confidence in himself, just like what Vegito taught him. Now Krillin would then go on to use more of his full power, overpowering third form Frost, and this would then lead into him using his final form. Remember, Krillin at this point is being able to take on Super Saiyan tier fighters, whereas where Frost is not even close to the same tier as Super Saiyan Goku. And mind you, this Krillin is above the TOP one that was pressing a stronger Goku, so the Super Saiyan tier that Krillin would be scaling to is above the tier of Super Saiyan that would be above Frost. So Frost, being just straight up angry that he can't defeat this bald-headed human, would try and rely on the poison needle to try and strike him. However, Krillin easily dodges. Krillin knows not to drag on a fight, and he's going to be kicking Frost immediately off the stage with his full power, knocking him out cold and out of the arena. So Frost actually gets knocked out before he shows that he's a rat cheater. Krillin here wouldn't be at his full power given the fact that he wasted it on Frost, and also would have probably taken up a significant amount of energy trying to figure out Botamo's weakness. And so this is where Vegito would basically just eat all of Krillin's attacks due to him being fatigued, and Krillin inevitably is overwhelmed. However, this would then lead into Piccolo arriving, which I don't think he would be able to overpower Vegeta, as he was being able to take hits from Super Saiyan Vegeta, and Piccolo was like without the special beam cannon below Frost. However, I do think Piccolo being, a big brain would just figure out Vegeto's weakness by accidentally calling him stupid, and then seeing how he gets worrisome would then take advantage, spam insulting him, and then basically making Vegeta have a mental breakdown. Following up would then be Kaba, which base Kaba would just absolutely beat up Piccolo, and Piccolo would then be eliminated. I think Vegito would show off Super Saiyan 2 Kaba and actually train him to trigger it himself, and Vegito would be fighting in his base form due to him just being so much more powerful than his canon self. He wouldn't be relative with Kaba in base to base at all. And in his base form, he would just simply eliminate Kaba, and this would then lead into him and Hit combating each other finally. Hit would be trying to rely on use his time skip, but Vegito in his base form would simply start adapting to his time skip similar to how Goku did, and Vegito would start to scrap with Hit in his Super Saiyan form, and this fight is mainly resembling the manga version, as I do believe this is an improvement. And not to mention, due to the power that Vegito possesses, this makes sense for him to use, less stressing transformations or less powerful ones, given the fact that his base form is just so much above Vegeta and Goku's, especially now that he's went through the same training. Only difference being is that he has a whole other person fused with him to basically multiply his power. Now, Vegito being the more disrespectful type opponent would actually give Hit an opportunity to keep on adapting with his time skip, which would then lead into Vegito just using his Super Saiyan God power to simply overwhelm Hit and overpower him. And before he adapts to an exponential degree, this would lead into Vegito blinking on Super Saiyan Blue the moment he tries to strike with Super Saiyan God, resembling what Goku did in the manga. And so he would then fire off a final Kamehameha, with Vegito suppressing down to his Super Saiyan God state when using this form, and making sure he doesn't kill Hit in the process, but just doing enough damage to just knock him out cold and eliminate him. So Monaka doesn't even have to come out, and Vegito is declared the winner. Like in canon, Champa's Earth is brought back thanks to Beerus, and this would conclude the Universe 6 arc, and we would move on to the Vegito Black Arc. Yes, you guys heard me, Vegito Black. Due to Goku and Vegeta being separate, and Goku not winning the tournament, it would just be Vegito Black this time. We'll say he just suppresses himself to the point to where Trunks can escape and he gets overconfident, which would lead into his downfall and allowing Trunks to actually travel back into the past. Trunks warns everyone like in canon and would realize that Goku and Vegeta are actually a fused being, and Vegeta would spar with Trunks just like how Goku did. Like Goku Black, Vegito Black would actually use the wormhole to allow himself to warp to that timeline. Vegito goes Super Saiyan and fights Black. Black then gets sucked back into the wormhole, and Trunks and Vegito inevitably go there as well. This time, Trunks wouldn't be training too much with Vegeta, as Vegito would have to be the one to go and see Zamasu. Trunks and Vegito then head into the future timeline to try and stop Vegito Black, which would then lead into Rose Vegito Black, and Rose Vegito Black just completely obliterating Vegito and Trunks, and I'm going to say here that future Zamasu also emerges. Now, after this, personally, I believe Vegito would go into the time chamber to try and train, while Trunks would be going the Goku route and actually learning the Mafuba, but this time he's not going to be forgetting the rice cooker like a dumbass. Vegito probably would have destroyed the time chamber, however, the results of him training weren't just, him getting stronger. Rather, it would be trying to gain more control of Super Saiyan Blue, which would lead into him using a technique similar to what Vegeta used in the manga. Vegito would use Super Saiyan Blue, but in a way where he would be using Super Saiyan God, and in the moment of attacking would be using Super Saiyan Blue. He did do this in the Universe 6 arc, however, he couldn't use it, as effective as he would be using it in the Goku Black arc currently, and Vegito would just be beating up and bullying Black Vegito simply. However, what's to note is Vegito Black would be eventually adapting to this, and as this is happening, Trunks would be fighting future Zamasu and finally being able to actually get Mafuba off, and, not forgetting the rice cooker this time, future Zamasu is actually going to get trapped. This means Rose Black would have no one to try and fuse with, so no merge Zamasu. However, he is adapting to Blue Vegito to the point to where even when Vegito flicks on Super Saiyan Blue, he's able to take the hits, and so Vegito needs to finish this off now, leading him into using his first Blue Kaioken attack. He wouldn't be going times 10 or really nearly as crazy as Goku used it, but he would use the normal Blue Kaioken just for a split second like how he used Super Saiyan Blue, just to knock down Vegito Black, and he would then fire off a Gallic gun that would eviscerate Vegito Black off the face of the earth. And so Vegito Black is atomized, whereas future Zamasu is going to be buried somewhere, being, trapped in a bottle forever. Vegito is a little strained from using that Kaioken attack, but he does recover due to him, using it for only a split second. Now, there is one arc left regarding the Dragon Ball Super anime, which is the Tournament of Power, so let's dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we do know Goku was training in between after Goku Black and before the Tournament of Power, and in this timeline, Vegeta would basically be doing the same thing, but would be training on Beerus' planet rather than training on Earth or something like that. The exhibition matches are still the same, with the team being the same except for Vegito obviously replacing Goku, Vegito having a way easier time against Bergamo and using a lot less energy trying to overwhelm Bergamo, and defeating Toppo rather than just stalemating with him. Toppo warns Vegito about Jiren as he is way stronger than what Vegito was showing off, and if that's Vegito's full power, good luck trying to win the tournament. This excites Vegito, and this would then lead into the tournament recruitment arc, which is very identical to in canon, the only difference being Vegeta and Goku are obviously one being, so they have an extra spot, and I'm going to say here, Yamcha actually gets an opportunity to shine in the Tournament of Power this time. And so you already know what happens next. Universe 7 has their 10 members, and so they head off into the World of Void, where they would then check out the other universes and what they're made of. Vegeta would first try and find Jiren, which he actually manages to find, with Jiren just immediately appearing behind him saying, "Go away," and Vegito's interest begins to spark up, given the fact that this guy might be the first actual real challenge he's ever had. And I know some of you are going to be like in the comments, but what about Beerus and Vegito Black? Vegito Black only got so strong because of Vegito's cockiness and him allowing Vegito Black to adapt, and when Vegito used his full power, he just negged him anyway, and not to mention Beerus was super suppressed against Vegito. So obviously that suppressed Beerus, Vegito is way stronger than, but not full power Beerus. You guys get what I mean. Vegito needs an actual challenge. Vegito needs to get beaten up. The Tournament of Power begins, and Vegito would get immediately jumped by Universe 9, but luckily for Universe 9, Vegito is way stronger than base Goku and Vegeta and is not going to be holding back or pulling any punches, given the fact that he's motivated to try and fight an opponent that's even stronger than him, potentially. And so Vegito easily obliterates Universe 9, erasing them even faster than Goku and Vegeta did. After this, Vegito, like Vegeta, encounters Botamo and Vegeta and knows not to waste time. Vegito would overwhelm these two and lure them to the edge, and he then shoots a Spirit Sword that off-balances Vegeta, making both fighters fall off the stage. Forgetting to mention as well, Krillin is a lot stronger here, so he beats the opponents that he was struggling with in the Tournament of Power, meaning Frost never gets the opportunity to off-guard him. After this is the Caulifla encounter with Goku, but here I don't really see Vegito training Caulifla, considering here he has an apprentice in this timeline, and that was a one-time exception. Caulifla would go as his J1, with Vegito trying to make the odds fair by going as his J1 as well. Vegito, in all honesty, could probably fold this Caulifla in his base form casually, but he's just going Super Saiyan 1 just to flex off, so it's not really fair in hindsight. So she's getting bopped, and this would lead into her getting eliminated off the stage. Kale, seeing this, would go into her berserker state. However, she would be far more enraged than in canon, because she got enraged over Caulifla and Goku just scrapping with each other. Imagine Caulifla just getting eliminated. Kale would be far more enraged in this timeline, leading into Vegito actually being excited because maybe she can be a worthy opponent. Vegito decides to just fight in his base form and rely on just using his hands, and him and Kale just throw hands at each other. However, Vegito not only is stronger, he also has the skill advantage. At that point, Jiren would then awaken, and sensing Vegito being this powerful, would then try and actually take this opportunity to try and eliminate him. And at that point, Vegito would power up into Super Saiyan God as soon as he sees Jiren staring down at him. And at that point, Jiren would try and rush at him, but Vegito would be able to dodge this easily. And at that point, the second he tries to connect his punch, he would transform it to Super Saiyan Blue. But even with that power, Jiren is easily able to block it. Vegito would be shocked to see Jiren being able to block this. However, he would try and go for these attacks again, and Jiren would then block it again. Jiren would then say how it didn't work the first time, so clearly it's not going to work the second time either. Jiren punches Vegito, however, Vegito's not completely out, and these two then begin to fight. Vegito using his blue form, or his god trick, switching from red to blue, it's not going to be enough to defeat Jiren. Although he is a lot stronger than Goku and Vegeta in this timeline, we already know Goku gets exponentially more powerful throughout the Tournament of Power, so Vegito is definitely going to need more than just Super Saiyan Blue to try and defeat Jiren, even though he's way more powerful than obviously canon Goku. Anyways, Vegito would then continue to combat Jiren, and knowing that he is getting overwhelmed and getting bodied even though he's using his blue form, Vegito would decide that desperate times call for desperate measures, and he would activate his blue Kaioken. This is all he's really got to really try and defeat Jiren, and although he tries to initially overpower Jiren shows off a little bit more of his power, which completely overwhelms Vegito, and he's back at square one. I think he would go times 10 instead of times 20, as, this Vegito, or in this timeline, the main character isn't really, using the blue Kaioken as much as Goku, so Vegito is just going to be using a weaker version. However, he's just stronger than that Goku in general, so it doesn't really matter, and Vegito is just going to have to rely on the Spirit Bomb. I know you guys are thinking, this fight is happening way too early, what's going on? Why is Jiren going after Vegito? Well, we have to understand that Jiren always wants to be the strongest, that's his goal. So Vegito being the only one that can threaten that position in this tournament at this point, that's for the fight of their universe, Jiren is going to eliminate that threat. And you guys might be wondering, all the Universe 7 members are in the tournament right now, everyone's basically at full condition, everybody's at full power, Vegito's stronger than Goku, the Spirit Bomb might be able to do something. No. Jiren will output a lot more power than in canon, but he is still going to overwhelm Vegito, and he's going to throw the Spirit Bomb right back at him, which seemingly kills Vegito, until also suddenly, Vegito would be shown to be alive and have actually discovered the form known as Ultra Instinct. At that point, he would then proceed to combat Jiren like in canon, like how Goku did. However, this time he would be pressing Jiren way more and actually forcing him to use a lot more of his full power this time. Vegito wouldn't be able to defeat Jiren, however, he would be able to significantly harm him, and this would then lead into Hit trying to follow up. However, he would just get overwhelmed by Jiren due to him, using a lot more power, so Hit isn't even going to get an opportunity to use the time cage and is immediately taken out. We do know that Goku does get increases after using Ultra Instinct, taken for example where he's able to scrap with Caulifla in his Super Saiyan 2 state while she's in his Super Saiyan 2 state, and now he's just basically beating her up in his base form. Not to mention, even after fighting Kefla, he actually is able to take punches from a Jiren who's actually outputting more power than the Jiren from episode 109 in his base form. So Vegito would be getting this boost, and already when using Omen initially, he was already close to Jiren's full power. Now at this point with Omen, he's definitely capable of surpassing Jiren, and at this point this would then lead into Vegito, after recovering enough energy, finally trying to fight Jiren once again. Vegito's able to press Jiren a lot more with his weaker forms, not using Ultra Instinct, he's still able to kind of overwhelm him. However, Jiren using his full power, Vegito still can't hold a candle, and he needs Ultra Instinct. When Jiren uses his full power on Vegito, he's just beating him down more and more, and this would lead into Android 17 even trying to come in to assist, along with even Gohan. However, the other Pride Troopers would obviously stop him. Vegito would concentrate all of his power into a Spirit Sword that he would try and strike Jiren down with. However, the Spirit Sword breaks upon contact. All seems lost for Vegito until he remembers, similar to how Goku did, of all the people that are relying on him and counting on him to try and win this tournament. They're not giving up on him, so he can't give up now, and this would then lead into Vegito awakening Ultra Instinct the second time. This time, obviously, since the second Ultra Instinct of Goku's was a lot more powerful than the first one, this would apply to Vegito, meaning Vegito at this point has surpassed Jiren. Keep in mind, this is all taking place during the early TOP, and so I think most of the fodder would probably just die or just lose via collateral damage. No, not die actually, because, they'll get erased and that'd be bad. But the collateral damage would be enough to eliminate most of the fodder. Jiren never achieves his limit breaker state, and so Vegito Omen defeats Jiren actually, and Vegito just, he doesn't just run out of Ultra Instinct before he gets the final blow, he actually defeats him. Vegito reverts to his base form, and Toppo and Dispo, being the next strongest, decide to try and eliminate Vegito while he's weakened, as, Jiren has fallen to him. However, Frieza, Android 17, Gohan, and other members of Universe 7 decide to come to Vegito's aid and defend him. Now, I think Krillin would be able to kind of confuse Dispo, along with Frieza combining with his, Death Beam Cage, and Piccolo could probably sacrifice himself here. Whereas Gohan and 17 could probably jump Toppo, and since Frieza isn't intervening in the Toppo fight this time, Toppo's never gonna just push himself to using the God of Destruction form, since Frieza never goes for low blows. So with the combined effort of Android 17 and Gohan, Toppo is defeated before he unleashes his full power, and Dispo is defeated like in canon. However, Piccolo does make the sacrifice, and Piccolo falls along with Dispo. Now, the rest of the tournament is kind of easy for Universe 7 to win, especially since base Vegito would be recovering, and he would be even stronger now in his base form than ever. Now, Vegito would be the one to actually get the wish here, as he was the MVP of the tournament, and he would be reviving Universe 6 just because, he promised that to Kaba. And so he would be keeping his word, and so Universe 6 is revived, so now there's only 2 living universes. The Broly movie can take place the same. I mean, Vegito would probably just use the Blue Kaioken to overwhelm Broly before he gets any stronger, and Broly's going to be taken back to Vampa like in canon, and Vegito and Broly would be allies. Now, that's basically going to be the end of the what if here, and if you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, as that is greatly appreciated and that helps me, and hit the bell icon. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, that will be linked in the description as well, and be sure to follow me on TikTok, Tylearn_, and with all that being said, I'm gonna get up out of here. Thank you guys for watching the video once again, peace out, bye.
Hey.